Yo, what up, y'all? This your boy Garrett Spencer. How's everybody doing? I wanted to make this video talking about, first of all, once again, Happy New Year, because we're in a new year. And I'm gonna be pretty excited, because on the 30 on the yes on the 31st or 1st of February, I'm going to I'm doing to an arcade that's taking place at a church again. It's going to be supposed to be over a hundred arcade games there and whatnot, and plus food trucks and everything that's going to be there. So this ought to be fun. I wanted to make this video talking about, tell you about my addiction, about how much I love video games, and like how it started. And it all started like back in the 90s when I was a little boy. And I was born in 91. I probably started playing when I was like 2 or 3 years old. And it started with Sega Genesis and old Nintendo for sure. But Sega Genesis is definitely my number one console because I've always loved playing Sega. I've always loved Sega Genesis, especially when it came to like the Sonics. Like Sonic One is my main game, like then, and it is up until this day. And I have like other games that on my hat that I love for it. Like I said, I was always playing Sega Genesis like every day. So addicted to it to eventually, when I had till I felt dizzy and I had a seizure, and had to go to the hospital. And then even the funny thing at the hospital is they also had a Nintendo 64, so like had two games. It was Mario Kart. It was Mario Kart and Mario 64. So I had some time on that playing that. So, but then when I got out the hospital, whatnot, the strange part that the screwed up part was like my Sega Genesis was still hooked up to the TV. Then obviously at some point when I wasn't present, my dad probably took the controls. I put them up, so I never found where they was. But Sega Genesis was definitely that game. I played it when my parents didn't want me playing no more. I got to play it I played the Sega Genesis kiosk when I was the Sega Genesis kiosk at Sears when they used to have one, and I also played Sega Genesis over at my cousin's house a long time ago. So it's like that was my time to take advantage of it and play it. But yeah, Sega Genesis was definitely my number one console. And I always had respect for I like Super Nintendo. I had a Super Nintendo probably a few years later on down the line. Then PlayStation One. I liked the PlayStation One. Played that in stores like Sears and Toys R Us, KB Toys, any other place in Circuit City and any other stores you could think of that had, and Best Buy that had electronic device like store type wise, like that, the N64, PlayStation 2, GameCube, Dreamcast, old Xbox, all the old consoles from the 90s and early 2000s was the best. And especially back in the 90s, arcades. I loved seeing arcade machines for sure. And I think the first time I seen an arcade machine ever was probably that at this corner store that used to be down the street from my grandma's house back in the 90s. It had two arcade games up in there. It was Street Fighter 2, and I think the other one was Mortal Kombat 2 or Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. I think it was Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. But two arcade games in that store. I didn't actually play them, but what I would just do anytime seen an arcade machine, I would just go up to the machine, start moving the joystick around, pressing buttons, even though it didn't have money in it. And then another corner store that was up the street from my grandma's. That's when I saw Miss Pac-Man. That's when I first saw Miss Pac-Man machine the first time. Then it had this little gambling video game machine that was basically for adults, basically like a gambling video game that was for adults, basically the old brown gambling machine where a blonde woman was like laying on her side. So it was kind of like a poker wise game. So it was like right next to Miss Pac-Man. But yeah, that's the first time I saw Miss Pac-Man, and then there was that gambling game I just saw. But and then at the amusement park, I don't remember this, but like years ago at Kennywood, this amusement park Kennywood down here in my hometown Pittsburgh. I was told when I was really little, I probably don't remember this, but I wandered off, and then I wandered off and found the arcade. and my mom was like worried. My mom and family was worried sick about me. So by the time they found me, they said I was in the arcade doing the same thing, just moving joysticks around and pressing buttons and just having fun, even though I didn't have money in it. So arcade at Kennywood, then the airport had a little bit of video games. So it's like any place that had video games in it, I was always ready to play, and even over somebody's house too. Because video games is stuff like video games is also sometimes gives me a reason, or always gave me a reason to want to go home, like every day after school or coming back from somewhere or whatever. That's one of the reasons why video games does. It makes you want to go back home later on because it gives you something to do. It's entertainment for you, entertainment for your home, and you work hard to buy. To get the games that you want, to treat yourself, and that's cool. I still yet have to count to see how many games that I have for every system, like, cause I've never took an inventory on counting how many games I have for like all my systems, but I'm pretty damn sure I pretty much have a really good amount of games for like, all my for the systems that I own. I just never took the time to count them, but I probably will do that at some point though. But yeah, I'm definitely a retro gamer, retro games for life. And as you guys saw, I was just playing Miss Pac-Man, still getting practicing that way, so I could get my skills up and get better and better at the game. That way, whenever the next Miss Pac-Man tournament comes up, I'm gonna be ready for some competition. I'm gonna be ready to play against the guys that's really, really good. I know who they are. So, but like I came close to beating one of them the last time in the last Miss Pac Attack tournament. But I didn't. But I did better in that tournament than I did the one before. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Like I said, I'm looking forward to 2 weeks from now on a Saturday at this gaming event that's taking place out at the church. It's going to have over 100 games plus pinballs too. So it's going to be pinball tournaments and regular game tournaments. So I guess I'll enter. I figure I guess I'll jump in there and enter it though. So I'm definitely going to be having some fun. But like I said, I just remember the time like I was addicted from a time I was a little boy growing up. And like, I still love the game up until this day because, gaming is one of my favorite things to do. It's my hobby. It's in my blood. And, when I'm done with everything, such as taking my main priorities, which is working out 6 days a week early every morning, going off to work, making my money, coming back home, when I have free time, and I feel up for it, I always come in here and, get it in, whether it's Sega Genesis, the arcade portable, or whatever I could think of, So, video games is definitely inside of me. It's in my blood. It's in my heart and everything. And I love doing it. So I love doing it. And then next month, the week of my birthday on a Saturday, I plan on going out to Pinball PA, which is one of the biggest retro arcade games here in my hometown as well. I'm looking forward to doing that, and I'm definitely planning on doing that. So definitely gonna make that happen. Make some videos. If I go, definitely gonna make some videos out there when I get in there and when I play the games and whatnot, like I always do, and have some fun, man. But like I said, retro games for life, though. So So I'm glad that I kept up with them, and I started and then I started, glad I started, buying them and recollecting them again, especially after my 360 kept on dying like years back, 2 or 3 red rings, and I just said, fuck it, I'm going to go back to recollecting retro games and whatnot. So that's how it pretty much started. But anyway, that's all I have to say. Anyway, that's all I really have to talk about. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So y'all know what to do. Leave y'all's comments and thoughts down below. Click that thumbs up. This is your boy Gary Spencer. You guys take it easy. I'll see you guys next time. And remember, y'all, once a gamer, always a gamer. Keep on gaming, y'all.